up there. So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
American inventor and entrepreneur Charles Kettering once said, "The world hates change, yet it is the only thing that has brought progress." So, keep that in the back of your mind as you might be going through different shifts in your life. Change is occurring, and it's happening at a very rapid pace. It sometimes feels like, well, to keep up with it, we just get one thing done and then a whole nother thing comes. But it's all about this evolutionary leap in consciousness that we are all undergoing as a species, as a human species. Gene Houston talks about jump time, because that's what this is. It's a jump in, a really fast jump in human evolution and consciousness. So these are some ways that change can take place. So some changes are expected, and some are complete surprises. Yes?
Yes.
Some are pleasing. Some can feel devastating.
Yes.
But it's going to happen because that's what change is. Sometimes we orchestrate it, and some seem to come out of the blue, but we don't even know where the blue is. But whenever I hear that, I think of it comes from divinity when I hear out of the blue. So in some we can find immediate good, and in others it takes a little while before we can actually understand what good has taken place for us. But change is happening, and I stand in the absolute knowing that all change is for the better. Just act as if sometimes. All change is for the better.
Amen.
Might not feel that way,
Amen.
but act as if. All change occurs because our souls, the essence of who we really are, has called it forth so that we might expand and evolve. So that divinity, that divine self within us, has called it forth. And all change occurs because our souls, the essence of who we are, has truly, really, has something in there for us to learn so that we can expand and grow. We've been using the Neale Donald Walsh book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything. So this is the last of it. It's a good book. He writes this: "We've all heard it 100 times, and it seems incredibly trite to say it again now, but here we go anyway. For every door that closes, another one opens." And for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I got a lot of likes on that one. Because I talked about that the hallway in between the two doors. That can be a challenge. But, and then I came up with another, because someone wrote something in the comments. Sometimes the door is right in front of us. And the doorknob is on there, and we don't know to turn the knob to open the door. Just in there. Just keep that in your consciousness there. Okay, so let me go back to Neale Donald Walsh. It doesn't matter, he says, what you've lost. Your job, your house, your spouse, your credit, your dream, your hopes, even your health. It doesn't matter what you've lost or what has so drastically changed. You can start your life all over again and achieve even greater heights, I promise you. And I'm taking that promise right in. I'm just believing that. I'm believing it. Do I get an amen on that? Yes, we are believing that. So today we're going to look at a powerful, powerful tool to add to our spiritual toolkit. But first I want to take a moment to look at an example of this tool and how this one particular person chose to deal with change. And that's composer Franz Joseph Haydn. Although he didn't realize that he was offering us this beautiful lesson, but as a small child he was trained to sing and was taken at the age 8 into the cathedral choir at St. Stephen's in Vienna. Here he sang solo, so many solo parts, and received valuable music instruction, as well as earning his living. He was a member of that choir for 9 years, and then a monumental change occurred. Anybody kind of guess what it could be?
Puberty.
His voice changed. So as his voice changed, when that happened, the director fired him and turned him out to the streets. So at 17, he had lost the only life he really knew, and he was penniless. And that's a big change. Yet, he took what he had learned and went on to become a teacher and a composer. In 1760, he was made musical director at the court of a prince in Austria. He held this position most successfully for over 30 years. 30 years. And then when the prince died, the musical group was disbanded. And Haydn, now at 58, which in 1760 was like ancient, okay, was without work yet again. Was without work. And so another big change took place in his life, right? Here he is again. But he refused. He refused to be ruffled. He accepted commissions for 2 composing and conducting ventures in London. He began doing some special teaching. He even taught briefly Beethoven. And he now had the leisure time that he could enjoy his fame, because he was famous, and he started composing more. And out of that time came works like The Creation and The Seasons and many of his other works. So twice in his life, not something he chose, but changes occurred. He had been cast out, and each time he found the good in it. He reinvented and went even higher. He changed, and he changed his way of responding to what took place for the better. And each time it took place for the better. And yet, still, we know all this, changes still can look very, very scary. They can frighten us. And you might even say, if all things happen for the better, and this is really true, really, we know this, then what in blazes does God have in mind when he initiated these changes that I'm going through right now? Because they sure don't feel good. In fact, they don't look any better, and they feel a lot worse. This can happen. That question leads us to our next tool for our spiritual toolkit. And our tool for today says, change your idea about why change occurred in the first place. Why the change occurred in the first place is a biggie, and it's a real big biggie. This change didn't occur because we live in a scary universe and it's out to get us. It didn't occur for that reason. It didn't occur because we've been bad or we've misused the law. We've done something terribly wrong, and this is now our effect. That's not the consequence. That's not correct. It didn't occur because we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unlike the song, which is, see, the right place in the right time. You are in the right place at the right time, right here, right now, because this is your perfect now moment to create. What we need most of are not any of these kinds of feelings. None of this is our fault, none of it. And so a lot of times we go into that guilt game, and it doesn't serve us. It brings us down. It takes us even lower. So take a deep breath, in and out. And you ready for the tool?
Yep.
Change occurred because we wanted it to occur. You may be thinking, I don't think so. No way. Most definitely did not call this change into being. No way, Jose. No one in their right mind would have chosen this. But your mind didn't make the choice. Your soul did. Your soul made the choice so that you could evolve. Remember the first quote, you can't evolve. You can't evolve if change does not occur. You stay stagnant. So the change is going to keep coming. So your soul did. So my friends, it takes us out of that victim consciousness. You are not a victim of change, but rather you are the cause of it. It really takes being responsible to a whole nother level. Now, this idea can be difficult to grasp without a really, really clear understanding of who we really are and our true identity on the earth plane. What our true identity is here. So without this understanding of who we really are, none of it makes sense. So Neil Donald Walsh suggests that in order to deepen into who we really are, into our true identity here on earth, here are 4 fundamental questions, he says, that you can ask yourself. So I would write these down and do something on it, because as I'm going to answer later on, he does, and it's interesting. First question is, who am I? And I'm going to be repeating them. So. Second question is, where am I? Third question is, why am I where I am? Fourth question, what am I doing here? So I'm going to read you the answers that he received when he asked these questions in his meditations. So who am I? Number 1, he received this. You are an individuation of divinity. There is only one thing, and all things are part of the one thing that is. Life is God, expressing itself. You are a part of life. Therefore, he says, you are a part of God. The only way this could not be true is if life and God were separate. Such a thing would be impossible. That's not what we believe here, and we believe in a unity. That's what he got for 1. For 2, where am I? You are in the realm of the physical. We're having this physical experience in these physical bodies, carries like our soul, which is part of what we call heaven or hell, is what we are experiencing right here and right now in our everyday circumstances. The sadness is that you do not, this is what he got, that you do not think you are in heaven. And so you've imagined reality is that you have to get there. In fact, he says, there is nothing you have to do. Nothing you have to be. Nowhere you have to go to experience paradise. Merely look upward on a starry night, or outward over a foaming ocean, or toward the skyline at dusk or dawn. You are in heaven, and you are calling it something else, and you are acting as if it were something else, and so of course you have created it as something else. Nature again. 3, where am I? Why am I where I am? This is what Neil Donald Walsh got. You are where you are because in the realm of the spiritual, you can know absolutely who you are, but you cannot experience that in relative terms. And so you venture into the realm of the physical so that we might gain a world of experiences. So this is the part where we say we are spiritual beings. That is the absolute truth of who we are. We are spiritual beings, and we are having this human experience. We're having this human experience so that we can evolve. We talk about the infinite source of all good, God, divinity, as ever expanding, but never changing its nature, but always becoming more of itself. Well, if we're individuated, that's what we're doing. But we got to learn to trust that, to embody that, and it can be scary at times. But the more we call in our divinity, which is already present, but the more we understand that, then the more we expand with ease and under grace. Okay. Did I use that? Yeah. Okay, so Neil Donald Walsh is calling this, I did it all. Did I do the 4th one?
No.
All right. I would have got a lot of emails on that. What am I doing here? Okay, so what am I doing here? You are here, he says, to use the tools and devices, which include this physical body, that are only available in the realm of physical, to bring you the world of experiences your soul wished to have, so that you could come to know your true self in a tangible, physical way, in the same way that you know yourself in the realm of the spiritual. It's a mouthful. Walsh calls this the system of the soul. The system of the soul. This is who we are, where we are, and why we are here. And it really is, as I said before, is a way. When we get to that time when we're ready to leave our physical bodies, and we realize at that point what is important. Are all the things we worry about every day, is it that important? No. That's when things are kind of put in perspective. So making friends with our eternal self is the greatest gift we can give to ourselves, because we're always expanding. And this is a friendly universe. This is a God of giving, and is always giving to us, supporting us, loving us unconditionally. That's what I repeat all the time to myself constantly, so that we can all move into that place. It's a nicer way to live life. It's a kinder way as we're going through these changes, which we will go through, because that's what change is. It's always changing. But when we're rooted, when we're grounded, when we're anchored in spirit, that's when we have the peace and make the right decisions. Because there we have the choice. We always have choice. When the soul's expanding anyway, so we have the choice when an experience pops up or change comes into our lives. How do I want to respond to this? That will determine the effect that you live. But I want to read a poem that Neale Donald Walsh's wife wrote. Her name was M.E.M., Claire, and she wrote this. I am that I am, and so much more. The light, the sound, the living God on the ground. I could show you every feather in the wing, every color, every hue, every beautiful thing. But I am that I am wants to love whoever has not yet had it, whatever has not yet known it, however life's not yet done it. There is still so much loving yet to be found, just living God on the ground. So my friends, the change occurs, and it occurs so that we can live a greater sense of our own divinity, our God self, so that we can live more of that. Remember that God delights in expressing through us and in our recognition of a higher power, which is what we are doing here gathered. We are recognizing there is a power for good. And so we're doing this with God's delight, and in the process, we feel much better doing it. Everything that changes at the direction you want it to occur. And you are continually choosing, whether you know it or not, the perfect people, the perfect locations, the perfect conditions to move us into our next experience. It's all about the soul's growth. So into our next experience, as you move forward, the process of the evolution of the soul takes place. But again, we choose how we want to respond to those conditions, those changes in our lives. It makes all the difference. But even that doesn't come without an ounce of fear. Fear can be in there. And I found this, the Dilbert comic strip, where Dilbert says to another colleague, change is easy, you go first. Yes, it can be scary, it can be. And I love, and this is the acronym anyone that's around me, I've been saying this over and over and over again, because I love it. And I love it. And Neale Donald Walsh came up with it in his book, his acronym for fear, right? Feeling, excited, and ready. We can switch. Feeling, excited, and ready. Now, the first acronym we had, false evidence appearing real, that was a great start. That was a good one. This one takes it, I think, a whole lot deeper. Evolutionary spiraling upward. Feeling excited and ready. I just came back from the ANTN conference, as most of you know, Affiliated New Thought Network Conference, and I was so uplifted. There was so much excitement going on, so much expansion going on, and I could feel it, and I could feel it for our community, that our community is expanding just in consciousness, in that beautiful thing called consciousness, expanded, and it feels exciting. It feels really exciting, really getting ready for the up-leveling, even more of our souls. Keep on up-leveling our souls, no matter what is going on in this human experience that we are having. So, coming up, a few of us from the board are going to a healthy leadership seminar for 2 days in Delaware, and I'm excited about that because I know it's going to bring forth a lot more expansion for this community. So ready and excited. Ready and excited. So if you're feeling excited and ready, and even if you're not, fake it. Say after me. I am feeling excited and ready.
I am feeling excited and ready.
For the good this change is bringing.
For the good this change is bringing.
My soul brought it on.
My soul brought it on.
So that the I am that I am.
So that the I am that I am.
Might live more fully.
Might live more fully.
As God on the ground.
As God on the ground.
Mark Twain once said. 20 years, this is a good one. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you did not do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. Isn't that powerful? Yes. Whoa. This one's too. So I want you to just, I invite you to close your eyes just for a second and end this. So I want you to bring into mind and your heart whatever change is up for you right now. Just think about it. Allow yourself, if there's any fear around it or any feeling, to feel it. And just breathe that for a moment or two. Be with it. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay. Because now we're going to shift our perception about the fear. So realize in your mind and heart that the fear you are experiencing